That's the fly.
Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How y'all doing? And Jay, you are exactly right. Robert left before the show came on, and he just got back 2 seconds ago. See, he's freezing up right there already. I told him we're gonna send you to McDonald's next week, and you just sitting there using broadband.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Watch Dogs. Welcome to the Watch Dogs. This is our Saturday show. Our Saturday show, the Watch Dogs, is just our social media broadcast that we have several. And with the Watch Dogs, is every Saturday at 12 noon. The topics vary with respect to the issues impacting our community. So we try to help the community reach conclusions based on facts, not innuendo, not any other falsehoods, but on facts. So y'all tune in every Saturday. We're planning on jazzing it up with a few more hosts, hopefully with me and Robert, and so we can bring you an array of different perspectives and talent. Our guest today, we got Miss Granada Davis and Miss Tia Brightwell, and they'll be talking about Lupus Awareness Month.
Yes,
and our other guest today is the great, legendary, young, legendary Jay Jones, former Commissioner Jay Jones. So, Robert, with that being said, you can take over now, sir. If you in there. You look froze again, Jay.
He's just looking like that serious look, man. He got that serious look going on. So since Robert is not available, I would like to turn this segment of the conversation over to Miss Tia and Miss Glenado so y'all can update us on lupus and how important lupus is for the month of May. And I'm gonna turn it over.
I'm here, but it's choppy. I tell you.
Hello, y'all. How y'all doing?
Right.
We are here at the Great ATR. Yeah, we love y'all.
We are big admirers.
Yes, we are. We're big followers. Yes. But really serious, on a serious note, let's talk about lupus awareness month. May is lupus awareness month. And even though we both are founders of TIA, I was impacted with lupus. Back in 2014, I was diagnosed with lupus, systemic lupus, which pretty took me from working, any activities, any good quality of life for my kids. At one point, I was up to about 11 bottles of medicine. Mr. Julius, that's why I love your show, All Things Natural, right? Because natural as a
Right.
Because I had to switch from them 11 bottles of medicine to really doing some natural things for my health care. I was at 330 pounds at one time. I'm at a grand total of 247 pounds because I said no to prednisone. So lupus is really, really serious. It's very disabled illness, invisible illness that no one can see, but you can feel it, and it does affect organs and different things of that nature. So that's why this is so close to TIA. So on Saturday of next week, you guys will be joining us, those that come out. This is a whole free show. My son, who I am introducing to the world as Mr. Chef Dom. He is a licensed chef. He does private catering. He will be cooking a brunch for us, where we be having speakers. I will be one of your speakers. I will be telling my story, my journey, you know, how I was able to recover and get healing. And so I'll be sharing that story. I'll have another speaker, Miss Natasha Davis. Natasha actually was the one that got Georgia proclamated to make May Lupus Awareness Month. So she worked close at the time with Governor Deal to make sure that that happened, her and her husband. So some women that are called lupus warriors will be there. And the greatest thing about this is, and why we came on your show today, is lupus warriors will be nothing without our lupus warrior support team. Without a support team, I could do nothing. Without my kids, my circle, my friends, those people that were praying for me, I could do nothing. So we're asking y'all to order your shirts. Get you a shirt, whether you're a lupus warrior, we'll put your name on the back of it, or whether you are a lupus warrior support team, and your name will go on the back of the shirt. The event is going to be held at Central Missionary Baptist Church, but the address is still the same, 3119 Thunderbolt Road, Savannah, Georgia. The zip code is 31404, and this is May 22nd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Maybe you'll come out and, you know, we got giveaways. I got a challenge. Anybody that can beat me in doing the Beto challenge. Anybody know these young millenniums? You know what Beto is? It's to get your it's just to get your life back dance. Anybody that can beat me in that dance, we're gonna give you a gift card. I'm just saying, because I've been practicing this dance. This is how I exercise, is by dancing. So we're looking forward to you guys coming out. We again thank Mr. Hall and ATRI for allowing us to have this platform just to talk about Lupus Awareness Month and what TIA and how it affects our community as well. And when I say our community, most minorities are diagnosed with this illness. So yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Granada, you got anything extra?
I just want to say how it fits into TIA as the overall mission. We are an organization that has an umbrella mission. We have different things that we focus on. So we focus on women empowerment, voter education, anti-bullying. So the things that we focus on, college readiness, the things that we focus on has something to do with women empowerment with this. Because what we want to do is connect people with resources that they may not know how to connect with. So this, like she said, is important to us because it affects our founder directly, but we know that other people in the community don't have specific support. So we want to bring those resources together so that if we can't answer the questions, we can put people in front of warriors that can get to the information that they need about lupus.
And we know that you two are always everywhere doing everything in every event, everything from Black Voters Matter to every event that there is out there, cleaning up the neighborhood, and I know that I'm watching. I know everybody else should be watching also, and my hat goes off to you too, because y'all are everywhere doing everything, volunteering on every level, and we appreciate it. So next Saturday at Central Baptist Missionary Church, we just asking everybody to come out. It's from 11 to 1, a couple of hours to come out and spend a little time and support. We got speakers, food, music, giveaways, everything. Just come out and support these ladies and the foundation. And share. Jay, you got anything? Or Robert, any one of y'all got anything?
All I have to add is May is a good month to be born in. It's probably one of the
Just
greatest months
happy
to be
that
born in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that.
yeah.
Robert, he'll the drag, Jay.
I'm gonna let him complete his sentence before I say anything.
Robert, go ahead, because you was behind.
Lord.
Jay had already started. Go ahead, Robert.
Look, I'm just happy. I'm just happy to learn more about the awareness month and hope that we can support No, I'm choppy, working on it, but thank you all for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Now we'll go back to Jay. So he was talking about he was second. He was talking about the best month to be born in is January. So you can
Oh,
finish that. You were
Okay.
saying the
So
best
like
month to
I
be
said,
born in is January.
like I said, the best month to be born in is the month
Lord,
of May. And there are
October.
certain things that go along with May, and lupus is probably one of the biggest things
mhm.
celebrated. I don't know, the people of lupus, they chose one of the best colors to actually show their support, which is purple.
Purple.
And purple, you should always have pride, you should always respect.
oh
Purple represents
Lord.
royalty and all other good stuff like that. And I know y'all see how RG. I'm just trying to make sure we get everybody involved in
Yes.
understanding how
Yes.
big
Boy, you
this thing
lucky.
is, man. And so with all those things being tied together, man,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that what y'all ladies are doing are phenomenal. And of course, y'all both know I'm one of your biggest supporters of all
Yes, sir.
times. And I'm trying to get RG to understand there's nothing wrong with rocking that purple, because purple is about royalty and pride. So we're gonna
Yes.
make sure we're gonna get RG a royal purple shirt that's talking about lupus, and we're gonna make sure he wears it with pride.
Oh,
And that's
That's
all I
right.
got. That's all I
That's
got.
right.
these young ladies.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Mr. RJ. Thank
I'll
you.
do it for these
Okay. Uh,
for whatever reason only.
I got to scroll to the bottom of the screen, but
Mhm.
is there any admission or anything that they need to do for next Saturday?
No, sir. No, everything is free. Again, the shirt, the t-shirts, basically this would be TIA's, even our first fundraiser, right? As an organization. So the young lady that is doing the shirts is Ms. Takia Young. She works a lot with Save Our Youth. She decided that basically she would split the t-shirt funding with us as a fundraiser for our organization. And you guys know we do so much really because even with our summer camp coming up with the kids. So this is a great way for us to make all of our events, all of our projects. We don't charge the community anything,
So
nothing.
Tia,
Yes, sir.
put me and RG down for 2 t-shirts. I'll pay for
Yes, sir.
RG t-shirt and my t-shirt.
Okay.
Because I know it's gonna be purple, and I love to take a picture with RG so we can celebrate lupus together.
And can I have y'all sizes?
We both wear mediums.
Okay,
Oh, good
got
call.
you.
And the
Hey,
shirts are 20 for small to extra large and 25 for 1X and up.
That's
And Jay,
fine.
I'll send you the cash app where the funding is going at because we want to. We're running a 501c3. We want to be legit, right?
Yes, ma'am. I got you.
hey,
Just cash
There
at
you
me,
go.
and I'm just gonna give you $50 total.
Yes,
And then
sir.
and that'll be because I know Julius probably wears like a 2X or something. I know you probably charge for big
You ain't
size
right.
shirts, so
Well, I'm saying
that'll
this,
cover some of that extra
Mr.
cost on
Jones,
his shirt.
some of his funding. That's what you're trying to say.
I know I want two T-shirts also, even though
Yes,
they're
sir.
not royal blue. The purple is close enough to my school's
Okay, color
colors.
wars
There you
over
So
go.
there.
you see,
Yeah,
I got my school colors on now.
see, I knew that's why you were saying that.
So,
Listen, I'm just saying, I went to Richard Arnold, I went to Jenkins, I got a little bit of red. I don't know if I don't think I went to Johnson or, but Savannah, we just got it bad about these high schools, man.
Yeah,
Y'all
man.
make people scared.
yeah, we pride. It's a lot of pride.
I know, all in fun, all in fun. I
But
miss
all
those,
with all
I
due
miss our, I'm sorry, Jay, you were saying
but
something?
all due respect, and I know we clowning and joking and anything like
Yeah.
that, but lupus is a real serious
Yes,
thing.
yes,
And we
Right.
really
yes.
need to, I mean, I like
Yeah.
to joke and laugh because laughter kind of gets the heart moving, but it's a very serious thing
Yes,
in our
sir.
Yes,
community.
sir. Yes, sir.
And we need to take hold and take heed to it and make sure we support it and we get enough
Mhm.
knowledge and information out of it on it. So I
Yeah,
appreciate y'all doing
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I tell you one thing, I would have never even known that it was lying dormant in my life until a part of stress triggered it, and it was a stressful time. And in our community, we suffer from a lot of stressful autoimmune illnesses, and that's why we Julius, you say you see us everywhere because we're talking about, exercise, and we want to talk about fresh fruit, healthy, getting back to getting the things from the earth, maybe not, we don't have all the answers. That's not what we have. what we do have is TIA through it all. The things that we're going through, we know other people are going through them as well. And we, again, just want to be that bridge to, we call it the old fools to the new schools. So we want to connect the millennials and the elders together so we can make beautiful music and change the whole narrative of the story that people are saying they're writing for us, but we want to rewrite the story for us and our kids. So yeah. So listen, Mr. Hall, I'm sending my nephew over there to them Blue Jackets, and that's what you is?
No, I'm a Wolverine.
Oh, you're a Wolverine. I thought you was a Blue Jacket.
Ain't nothing but Wolverines. We don't even see Blue Jackets.
I don't even think they call Tompkins Wolverines anymore.
All right. We gonna see. We gonna see. We one of the top high schools in the nation. So y'all recognize that in the nation. So y'all recognize that. But anyway, thank you ladies for coming out. And we'll see y'all on Wednesday. Y'all gonna be on the show on Wednesday for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours, whatever y'all choose. So when it get hot, y'all can get off.
You know what?
And we'll see y'all on Wednesday night at 7.
Right.
Okay.
See y'all. Thank y'all. All right.
All right. Thanks for
coming
again. All right. All right. Robert.
Okay, so to our viewers, today we are going to cover some very important information. So if you know people who pay taxes, which I think is pretty much all of us, you want to tune in, you want to share, you want to get people engaged in this conversation. We are going to talk about resource allocation from a tax resource type of approach. So how do these things happen? We pay taxes. How do they get allocated? Through people who are decision makers. So your city councilmen, county commissioners, a number of different people have their hand in that pot, in that process. And so today we'll talk about, some examples of county government, using Chatham County as an example, because I think we all are familiar with that. And then looking at some of the city budgets as well, to talk about this idea of resource allocation and the decision makers who allocate these resources. So with that, gentlemen, where do we begin? I'll tell you one thing, and we have a schedule here to follow, but if we could introduce who we are and our, I guess, affiliation or background that qualifies us to talk about this particular topic. And so, for example, Jay, we know that you were on county commissioner on the commission, and you understand that process as well as other governmental processes. So if we can begin there, I think that will help people kind of build context.
All right, so I mean, just give me an example. I mean, what kind of level will you want me to take the conversation? If you don't know me by now, everybody out there in the atmosphere, I'm Jay Jones, former county commissioner here in Chatham County. I also sit as the chairman for the local Democratic Party right here in Chatham County. I also sit in the seat of the 1st Congressional District Chair for the seat that matches what Buddy Carter would be. I sit in that seat as far as the Democratic Party is concerned. And so with all that being said, it's very important for us to understand the importance of politics and voting and why, I was just in the discussion just a second ago in reference to we have about 18,000 applicants looking for housing in Chatham County, in Chatham County. And why that's significant is because, people from the city of Savannah make those appointments onto the housing authority. And so when you have 18,000 people looking for housing, and those people are appointed by the housing authority, or come from the city of Savannah as far as appointments are concerned. And then the conversation right now in the news today is dealing with what's going on in, I can't think of it, over there by First Bryant Church.
The Yamacraw.
The Yamacraw Village. What's going on with Yamacraw Village, whether we should destroy it, demolish it, what we should do with it. And so the conversation is, okay, all of a sudden, Yamacraw Village is very important for us. Well, Yamacraw Village been in that same state going on 20, 30 years. Why hasn't the housing authority had that kind of effort and authority in marching and moving to make it better before, but we want to wait till it becomes dilapidated, and now we want to. Oh, well, it's an emergency. We want to destroy it, tear it down. We want to destroy it, tear it down because we don't want to put the same housing projects back there. We want to destroy and tear it down because that's prime real estate downtown Savannah, Georgia. The cost of it right now is probably 5 times the value of what we should have been doing it 10, 15 years ago. But it's important now because it's prime time real estate. They're building hotels across the street from Bay Street. And all those hotels across the street from Bay Street, it's an eyesore to those people right there. And so because it's an eyesore to those people right there, they want to say, well, what can we do to this? Because I got to ride down that little narrow road to get the other side where Oglethorpe is. And my thing is I got to look left and right, and I got to hold my pockets, clench it and everything like that. And the great thing is the SCAD kids, they ain't even scared of the projects no more. So if they ain't scared to ride through their projects, why are we such a big rush all of a sudden to ride to actually fix what's going on there, narrative-wise speaking? Why? Because it's about economics. And right now we have the kind of leadership in Savannah that doesn't mind pushing those economics to the limit. And what I mean by that is we're willing and able to give away Savannah on pennies on the dollar to make billionaires out of people who aren't from Savannah. And my thing is those people from Savannah are the ones who are being left out of the hustle. And so until we are actually bring it to the surface and have full-fledged conversation, I ain't picking on anybody on city councils. I ain't taking sides from the 5 or the 4. All I'm saying is if we're not willing to have brave conversations to talk about the people who are from and born and raised here in Savannah, Georgia, and make sure we defend those people. And I know what group defends what group more than the other. We already understand it. Y'all can go argue them points right there. I'm not here to argue them points. I'm here to argue the points that you have 18,000 people, and that list has existed for at least 10, 15 years. What the hell the housing department has done for us? They ain't did a damn thing as far as I'm concerned. Because if you got 18,000 chronic on that list still existing in today's society, and we have not done nothing, not 1, 2, 3% to adjust that number, we all should be ashamed of what's going on. But we all know it's a grab. It's a money grab. They want that property because it's a money grab. And I'm only using that as a part of example because guess what? That's the light of the subject today. We can talk about the weeping times. We can talk about the fairground project. We can talk about all those things. We can talk about Tatumville, what they're trying to do in Tatumville, Sylvan Terrace, Liberty City, and Cloverdale and Carver Village. Because the goal is to undermine those communities where minorities have been living at for decades in Chatham County, who have established those situations here. And guess what? To remove them out of the whole conversation. So I hope I'll open up some dialogue so you can ask me some questions, because I really want to answer questions, and I really want to stick to the script about being able to be deliberate. And Julius, I know you looking at all these backdrops and stuff like that. Please help me understand what I need to do.
Well, and I think, as we look at, Julius, I don't know if you're still there or stepped away, but I'm going to do my intro. But my interest in this topic is around, one, being a taxpayer, and two, when I ran for a state office last year, it was very evident to me that you have people at the table who are making decisions for you and I, and they don't always have our best interests or think about our interests at all. And so when we think about, who we place at the table using our vote, we need to start thinking strategically, because I'll use the Yamacraw piece, for example, since you raised the issue. I said that 5 years ago. I kind of felt that was going to be the case. You got all of this wonderful development going up. You got these new condos going up. You have River Street expanding. You got Kelsler, making it big off of it. And that's not so. So, it was a matter of time. But we've got to be very careful about who we place around the table. And I'm reading here now the budget process for the city of Savannah. We have this big taboo now where we can't get a city manager. Well, the city manager has a huge part in this budget process. So again, all these things connect.
RG, I don't mean to cut you off. You're never gonna get a city manager if the people on city council can't even communicate with each other. And I will say this, because Julius always says I don't speak up. I will say this one fault about our good friend Mayor Van Johnson. The one thing I can say about Mayor Van Johnson is I have not seen with my eyes. I don't know what he do behind closed doors, but I have not seen with my eyes a consolidation of talking to your membership. Me and Julius, for example, We disagree on a lot of stuff in our life. We do not agree wholeheartedly. But you know what we do well is when we don't disagree, we pull to the table, we have a conversation with each other, and guess what? Julius makes sure his point is put out there, I make sure my point is put out there, and guess what? We go out there in the community and we serve the community because we understand we're here to serve the community. All 9 people on that board should have that same conversation. It shouldn't be a 4 and 5 decision where it's already decided for 4 years. Our government structure is divided amongst those 4 and 5 people. And we should not be calling anybody names either in public circles. We should have those conversations in private. So therefore, and then watch this, if them conversations don't work in private, then you make it public and say, hey, I had a conversation with that person, but it didn't work. And the one thing I will say is I have not seen, I can only say with my eyes, and I can say with affirmation with my eyes, I have not seen a consensus where the 5 and the 4 had any kind of conversation with each other. What I do see is these people on this side and these people on that side. And I will say this, the 4 ladies that represent, they do a hell of a better job of representing those who are the least of these than what's going on with the 5. And I can say that too with affirmation. But I'm just speaking what reality is showing me when I watch TV. When I cut the TV and when I even bear to try to look at city council, that's what I see. But what I'm seeing is we're tearing down black community, black sections of Savannah, Georgia. I don't see no parts of areas where there aren't any afflictions as far as tied to indigent populations. I don't see no parts where black people are not a part of the problem. I don't see none of that being affected. All I see is the communities that are tied to black people, and all that's doing is tearing the hell of our organization apart. And Savannah is not going to grow. And all we're going to do is we're going to be on pause until 2023. I'm going to leave it to Julius. Go ahead, Julius.
Well, you raise a valid point, Jay. And leadership, part of leadership is knowing how to bring people together.
Correct.
You have to know how to bring people together. If and like I say, this ain't for me to hop on the mayor. I'm running for mayor of the city across the street. But you have to be able to bring people to the table. And if the mayor was sincere, he would say, okay, in open public, okay, we're going to meet. We're going to have a retreat so we can resolve these issues so we can get on the same page. I want you all's perspective to be and put on the agenda. I want whatever issues you have put on the agenda so we can vote on it. That would be a sincere leap of leadership that we would see coming from that council, coming from the mayor's office, to say, let's see if what we can work out. What's wrong with that? You either gonna vote it up or you're gonna vote it down.
You got it.
That's the problem.
Julius, in leadership, you have to find something to make a consensus of that you can agree on to make peace among yourself. You can't show that you're divided. Like for instance, I even put this piece out there. Every time I see a press conference, it's the same 4 people who vote with him on every single goddamn thing out there that show up to a press conference, whether it be dealing with crime. Oh, I just want to say that these 4 people, that's what he might as well say. Yeah, these 4 people are the 4 people who support me in through and through. And I, like I said, I'm not here to beat up on them 4 people. I'm just here to say them 4 people need to be just as concerned as the other 4 people saying, look here, we all we all work for Savannah. Because as far as I'm concerned, what I'm hearing is ain't nobody happy with nobody right now. Because what we do, we in Savannah is divided.
Well, and the thing is, when you're talking about what your duty as a elected official is, you are a public servant. A lot of people turn into politicians. Politicians serve for themselves and for certain people. Public servants serve for the people. So all people have to do is open their eyes and look. Are you doing what is necessary to make the people lives better? Or are you doing what's necessary to make special interest lives better? So you can see the difference. You know, if all those people supposed to be on the same platform because they ran on the same platform, they're supposed to be addressing the same issues for the people right now because that's how they ran. And see that is divided. Who's at fault? The press and everything, mainstream media, try to make it seem like it's the 4 but it's not the 4. All you got to do is just open your eyes.
My thing is, but this is my point. I don't give a damn who's at fault, brother. All I care about is the simple fact is city of Savannah is suffering behind the bull crap that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Savannah cannot grow. It cannot get better. It cannot thrive. It cannot. The people who are in economics who already got the money, they gonna benefit even more. But what about the least of these? What about this 40% poverty we got, right? With these 18,000 people who ain't got housing, or these people, the problems that constantly exist in our society. What are we going to do to address those problems?
Okay, well, Jay, the thing is this, and you said it just now. The thing is, they're still getting done because they have the majority to do what they need to do. So why aren't those 5 doing what you just said need to be done? So it is somebody to blame. If those 5 have the majority to get things done, why aren't they getting things done? The same issues that you just brought up, why aren't they doing it?
Because they are in their mind frame. They're creating narratives to fix it the way they want to fix it, but the narrative that they create and to fix it the way they want to fix it only benefits those people who are economically in charge, and it's not taking care of the problem. All they're doing is what we're doing is two ways to get more votes for those people. You either get them, empower them, and teach them how to be a voter, or you move their ass out. You move them to the other side of town, or you move them away, because those are the 2 ways you get votes. And what they're doing is successfully is they're moving people out of this box and putting them into this box. And so slowly but surely, the city of Savannah is going to be dominated. It's already dominated by economics now. It's going to be really dominated by economics eventually. And do I agree with you? Those 5 are playing right into the economics hands. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I don't dispel that. But the problem is there needs to be a consensus between all 9 of them to say, hey, we hate each other all up here. But guess what? We still got to serve the same people. The people of Savannah, and I'm talking about the real Savannahans. I'm not talking about the people who moved here from Wichita, Kansas, or Buffalo, New York, or anything like that. I'm talking about the people who are from here who have been disserviced for so many years in Savannah. Give them an opportunity to be able to thrive too.
But
because
that's
economics is coming here.
That's what your issue is. You got people who have their vision of what they think it should look like and have not grown up here and not here to serve the people. But you got the 4 who get thrown in the paper and chastised for serving the people, for listening to the constituents. So
yeah, but at the same time, RG, at the same time, RG and Julius, we as a people need to make sure that we have a strategy and a plan to make sure we hold them 5 people accountable to them. It shouldn't be up to just them 4 ladies. It should be up to all of us in the community. We should be tearing the city down when we're not getting what we got. But you know what we do? We stay lame duck and sit back in our seat. And then come 2023, guess what we won't do again? RG, I'm putting it out here right now, RG. We voted at 27%. We will not vote more than 30% come 2023. Yeah. Ain't nothing going to change. We don't get angry. We don't get mad. We don't get frustrated. We just sit back in the chair and don't do nothing, brother. And the only way we're going to change this thing is we got to show up to the polls. Even when they do everything they possibly can to keep us from going to the polls, we still got to show up to the polls. I ain't missed a voting opportunity since I've been 18 years old. That's the same mentality. Every single person who is getting the short end of the stick should be having that same mentality, brother.
Oh, I totally agree. I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why. We've got to do a better job of helping people understand what a vote translates to. So, you know, when you elect a city councilman, what that looks like in reality, what does that responsibility entail? Because a lot of people, they don't vote because it doesn't impact them. It doesn't impact them because they don't understand what that particular role does. And so we got to start letting people know the functionality of these roles and why it's important to them. Case in example, you have a council that can't get along. So they're going to be the haves and have-nots, and that cycle continues.
Well, RJ, I'm going to put something to you right here. I'm going to help you out. Understand it. I know my brother Julius Hall is running for mayor right there in Port Wentworth, right? Port Wentworth has been underdeveloped as far as government is concerned since forever. I can't even give you a year when it was developed in the right senses. What's going on right there? You know who runs Port Wentworth? The developers run Port Wentworth because they give the plans to all them people down there in Port Wentworth. And I'm gonna call it Mayberry. You ain't gotta call it Mayberry. I'll call it Mayberry. And Mayberry just signs off on every single thing that comes before them. Because you know why? Because RG, developers realize and say, well, shoot, Port Wentworth is a developer's gold mine. I can get everything I want. And then we got those people in leadership positions right now in Port Wentworth who don't have a clue that they giving it for pennies on the dollars a farm. And when you go to Port Wentworth, this government structure is so far behind that guess what? How can you keep up with what's going on in the times? The same problem happened in Savannah, Georgia. You had poor leadership in Savannah, Georgia that gave pennies on a nickel property and land and everything like that in Savannah. And guess what? Now that somebody's finally challenging, guess what? It's a problem. But we should have been challenging these problems 30, 40 years ago, man. I'm sorry. Exactly, I don't want to dominate the conversation. I really want to hear what y'all got to say.
No, you're right. Port Wentworth is not just ran by the developers. I'm gonna give them they on the lower tier. We're talking about because we need development here. We do. And it's just the wrong type of development. We need other types, and that's one of the things that I'll be addressing as mayor. But I think that leadership needs to have a vision, and there are all types of things here and I'll show you this week when we have lunch that needs to be done here that I have a plan for. I'll be releasing a bunch of videos soon showing everybody my plans. But it needs leadership that has a passion to see this city become what it should be. And it's not a friendly city. And one of the things that we want to do when me and the other 3 people that are running take our position, we want to make sure that this is a friendlier city. We want to make sure that people come here. There's nothing if you come to Savannah, the only place you go to Savannah is that's the only tourist district. We have something here in Port Wentworth for you to see. It's just not been thought of or it's not been developed. And we don't have those type of people in position and leadership here that thinks like that. What city hall you can walk in and as soon as you walk in the door, you in the mayor's office. It's so 1940s. It's a shame. This is Mayberry, but we're going to make it Mount Island.
I mean, Jews, and when I say that, I understand what I'm saying. I agree wholeheartedly. RG, I agree wholeheartedly. Being a county commissioner, you got to see that Chatham County, Savannah, Georgia, is probably going to be one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Georgia. Matter of fact, it might be one of the fastest growing counties in the United States of America. They're pegging our county to be anywhere from up to 1.3 to 1.5 million people in the next 15, 20 years. Development is coming, whether we like it or not. And Julius, I agree with you as far as, but it's still the number one problem is we got the wrong person driving the car.
Right.
However you call it, look at it, it's still number one in Chatham County. We just got the wrong person driving the car. Now, when it comes to driving economics, we think the tourism and the visiting and stuff like that down Savannah is what the real economic driver. That's about to become second in Chatham County because guess what? What's about to be number one is things tied to that port, which we can't have no ownership, tied, conversation, anything discussed with that. Because guess what? We've been known that we needed help on 16 and 95. It wasn't until that port became important that we got that money to get 16 and 95 fixed. I just want to call it for what it is. That's how government works. And until you put the right elected folk in the local, the state, and the federal, then guess what? And the purpose of me being on this conversation so we can talk about appropriations and resources and everything like that. City of Savannah is about to get anywhere from $50 to $60 million on behalf of what Biden just dropped. Chatham County is going to probably get about $8-9 million on behalf of what Biden just dropped.
And you're talking about the infrastructure plan, right?
And we're talking about the infrastructure plan that he dropped back in January. It's a ton of money. I want to say the other word, but I can't cuss because I'm trying to be loyal to Julius's wife, not Julius. But it's a ton of money getting ready to come into Savannah, Georgia, Chatham County. And guess what? They gonna hand that thing off to a group of nonprofit people who ain't in tune to what's going on in our community. And it specifically says we need to develop nonprofit organizations from those communities to make sure that they're distributing active people in those communities. But you know what our government structure is going to do? We're going to do what we always done. We're going to hand it off to those nonprofit organizations that don't have a clue about what's going on in Savannah, Georgia. And you know what the nonprofit organizations going to do? They're going to spend anywhere from 10 to 30 to 40% of that revenue trying to develop a plan first before they give one dime to any community or to any nonprofit that needs to get that money. But you know what?
That's right.
For some reason here in Savannah, Chatham County, we are glutton for punishment because for some reason we just like to be left out the cycle, and then after we left out the cycle, we'll say, well, dang, I didn't, I should have voted for so and so. I should have did this, or I should have got my behind up and vote. But the vicious cycle is always going to continue until you get into the political stream. Until you get into that cycle, man.
Yeah. You need the right people with the right vision trying to do the right thing. Until you get those people there and not be influenced by big business, then it's going to always be a problem because the status quo will continue to exist, and the underserved communities will continue to be underserved. And that's just a fact. People just need to start waking up. Like you said, we vote at 27%. We will not vote over 30% to save our lives. The amount of people that didn't vote, that are registered, that didn't vote is just crazy.
In 2020, to answer his question, in 2020, 70,000 people in Chatham County that were registered voters did not get off their couch, did not turn left to go to their board of elections, they voter registration, their voter place.
No absentee ballot.
70,000 people in Chatham County, just Chatham County, did not vote. And then I'm gonna flip it even further. In the 1st Congressional District, 170,000 people did not show. But then we complain about how sorry ass Buddy Carter ain't doing nothing. But 170,000 people didn't show up to the polls. We complain about local government not doing nothing. But 70,000 people didn't show up to the polls. It may sound like I'm anxious and I'm excited, I'm angry and I'm mad. And no, I'm not that angry black man here. I'm just flabbergasted. The fact that we can't get nothing fixed because you know what? We're not in tune to what's going on to fix the political stream in our communities.
And the leadership of the state and the country really don't want to fix it because I think it was Iran or someplace like that you had to vote. If you didn't vote, you get shot or something like that. I think had to vote. They were one time the only place on the earth that had 100% participation.
Yeah.
So it should be some type of way that if you are registered to vote or if you are able to vote, then it should be like they had a poll tax back in the day. It should be a tax against you for not voting. It should. I don't care. And you should be able to say, okay, well, I don't want to vote. I'm going to opt out of voting. But it costs you to opt out of voting. Because then you make everybody accountable.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, my theory to that is, why don't we just make absentee voting more accessible? And what I mean by that is everybody gets an absentee ballot. Period.
That's correct.
And RG, the problem with that is the Republicans figured that was our plan, and guess what? They made absentee ballot voting harder for that to happen in House Bill 202 because they knew that that's what we did. You got to think about it, RG. The minute we almost tripled the number of people in absentee ballot showing up to the polls. And that was, and you know, I'm gonna keep it real. That was more Democrats and Republicans showing up. And guess what? That changed the narrative as far as the controlling factor is in. Oh, we can't have that. We can't have
Mhm.
that. And so guess what?
And there,
They moved the finish line. It's supposed to be a 40-yard dash. They said, well, we're gonna make it a 44-yard dash. They ain't gonna know that we added 4 more yards to it. And so that's what they do, RG. But the thing is, what we do, RG, the problem with us is we take too long to adapt to change. RG, when change happens, we need to get
Well,
instantaneous with our change when change happens. You gotta play this like chess, man. We bringing checkers to the chessboard just because it
yeah,
look like it's the same game plan.
I totally agree. You know, when that whole discussion was happening and all of that was going on, I was just, I don't know, I was lost as to why there was not more noise from our Democratic leaders at the state level. I'm like, we're just gonna let them, you know, take it right through the door on us. And, you know, it is what it is. Julius mentioned something a moment ago. I want to go back to it where we were talking about large businesses and corporations, but there has been a conversation about, you know, and I'll put it out there with SCAD and other higher ed institutions. And when it comes to things like property taxes and owning property and all of that, you know, how do we change that narrative? Or do we even get a chance to? Because that's a huge piece of revenue that we're missing out on.
Even if you change it, you cannot do anything to grandfather anybody who's grandfathered in. You can get that. You can get a back place
Oh
on
yeah.
that revenue. What, like for instance, we talked about. I'll give you an example how you would do loopholes like that. The port downtown port. I got when I was running for office, I got 1,000 requests saying we need to do a port tax like L.A. or like all these major ports throughout the United States of America.
Mhm.
Do a port tax. The problem with that is in 1992, 93, 92, 91, we gave the port to the state of Georgia. Now, I don't know anybody. I know if I gave Julius Hall $1 million tax free, and I said, Julius Hall, you don't owe me nothing for it. And then I come back 2 weeks later and say, well, Julius Hall, I need that $1 million back. If Julius Hall gave me that $1 million, I know that's my trusted friend in my life because there ain't nobody gonna put their hand on Julius Hall. But I don't know nobody in America. If I gave them $1 million tax free, and I came back 2 weeks later and said, hey man, I need that money back. I made a mistake. How many people gonna get that money back? Nobody.
yeah,
And so that's what we're dealing with when it comes to the port. We gave a free buddy pass for the state to make billions of dollars. And we can't do nothing about it. And that conversation goes with what I was saying. So the only way we can do as local entities is we can put taxations on those roads. We can do a poll tax. You remember if you go to Atlanta, Georgia
That's a good
400,
idea.
you had that poll.
Yeah.
You can do a
Hmm.
poll tax. That's how we can recoup that revenue. But the problem with that is if we did a poll tax there, what do you think the state of Georgia is going to do? If they own the port and you cutting into their money, what you think they're going to do? Always
But
remember the state can
you pay
supersede
up.
anything local does. And so you're
yeah.
playing politics with this whole game. And so, yes, we can entertain that conversation about putting the taxation on education systems. But then, if you do it on education systems, you got to do it on all nonprofit education systems. So that puts Savannah State at him. That puts Georgia Southern, Armstrong at him. That puts all those institutions at him when it comes to that. What we need to do is City of Savannah needs to slow down on allowing the acquisition or the
Right.
changing of the NPC codes, like because they need certain NPC codes to put a building in certain areas. But you know how easy it is for to get them to prove it through NPC? They don't have no problem, and that's where the chokehold is. Who puts people on the
Look,
NPC, RG? Who puts
look,
people on the NPC?
City
6
council.
seats
they,
come from the city of Savannah. 6 seats come from the county. That's how you hold them hostage. You hold them hostage to the
decision makers.
NPC. But see, RG, we gotta stop playing reactive politics because that's what we do well. We react very well. We react
Hmm.
very well, and we gotta start saying proactive. We gotta put that pro in front of it and drop the re. Because if we don't start becoming proactive, we're gonna keep losing.
And I mean, I'm right over in the 5th district. I mean, it's about to be SCAD land. They cross that street, take McDonald's. Where do we stop?
They don't. They're gonna take everything that they see that is viable, that they want to make into something for SCAD. They're gonna take it. That's what they
SCAD
do.
Each student, RG, each student pays right about between $40,000 to $50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And how many students they got?
Let me look at their enrollment.
That's a dang monster right there.
5,000.
That's a monster. You
Yeah.
know, and my thing is, I want everybody to understand, I ain't got nothing against SCAD personally because it's an education institution and it's educating our kids. So I want that
Yeah.
understood. However, I do think that, resources, locate places like SCAD because of the monopoly of what they got going across the city of Savannah, and they don't have to pay into the fire tax. They don't have to
Right.
pay into the police. They don't have to pay into any of those functions. So guess what happens? When they get a fire, they got to go to the SCAD building just like they go to my house. And guess what? I pay taxes. They don't. And what SCAD will probably say is that, hey, man, well, we bring in revenue here because we're bringing tons of people here and they're shopping in our stores.
Yeah.
They're doing this, that, and the third. That's the hustle they give us, which we appreciate those populations. But somewhere down the line, what we need to do is the people say, okay, how can we get some money off SCAD? How can we get revenue taxes off SCAD? And Natalie hit it right on the point. SCAD ain't just Savannah. It used to be
Yes,
Savannah
Man,
College
look
of
at
Art and Design. SCAD is a international entity. And so my thing is, we can focus hard on them, but I can tell you right this, Julius Hall, if SCAD continues to do what it does, and then they finally pull out of Chatham County altogether, it's
It's
going to
gonna be
be the
ugly.
same effort that if Georgia Southern pull out of Statesboro. If Georgia Southern pull out of Statesboro, there is no Statesboro. Statesboro is not Statesboro without SCAD. And we are slowly becoming that same kind of entity when it comes to SCAD in Savannah, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things I know we probably got a little we're touching on it, but I like to break down that next week. Break down that county. Next week I'll probably be out of town. Well, I'll still be able to do the show. Um, um, Break down that the money that's coming in and where is it going, so that we can tell people this money is coming and who is it for, and where is it supposed to go to, and who's going to be the storekeepers, because people need to know this that there's funds available. One other subject that I want to touch on, Jay, and I'm gonna do the research on it and see. We had to talk about the city of Savannah owning property in Port Wentworth, and the city of Savannah owns property here in Port Wentworth, which I don't know how that was done, but I'm going to find out.
Annexation.
There's no Yeah, and you annexed a part of another city into your city, and you hopped over another city to get there. So
Yeah.
something is wrong with that. It is
It,
reversible. It is reversible. I
it is
found that
very
it is.
reversible. It is very reversible. But in order for a city to annex another city's property, somebody who has the authority of that city has to sign off on it. It ain't
Correct.
just by osmosis walks in Port Wentworth and says, "Oh, I
Correct.
want this land. These 10 acres now belong to Savannah."
Right.
Nah, if it was
Correct.
actually Port Wentworth, then Port Wentworth, it's a document somewhere in Port Wentworth that was signed over that property. And traditionally speaking, so nobody beats me up. Traditionally speaking, these conversations are because of water and sewer. Savannah owns the water and sewer in Chatham County and parts of FAM and other parts around the community. And what they do is, as the big bully, which I would do the same thing if I'm the big bully, when they say, well, you need water and sewer here, well, I'll get you water and sewer in this part of Port Wentworth if you let me have this part of Port Wentworth. And
Right.
those kind of deals happen. And once again, I said it earlier, Julius, I don't know if you heard me. If in Mayberry, we have the wrong people running Mayberry, then guess what's
That's
happening,
correct.
Julius? You're going to have these, that sounds like a good plan. Because the developer's going to give me $10 for this piece of property. And if I can get them the property for 10, it's that Mayberry mentality, man. That's what I'm going to start. I'm going to get a t-shirt and I'm going to get you one, Julius. And it's going to say Mayberry mentality. That's what it's going to say on that shirt. Stop
Yeah.
the Mayberry mentality. If you stop Mayberry mentality, you won't have these problems. This ain't the 40s no more. This is a real world.
Yeah,
Everybody has access. We got to start treating it like that.
that's right. And it is Mayberry, and we're going to get rid of Mayberry soon.
Well, I'm gonna get shirts say Mayberry. What is it? Mayberry. What I remember
Mentality.
my
Mayberry mentality. That what you say?
Mayberry mentality. I'm gonna write it down so I can make sure I get that T-shirt and I'm order. What color you want? You want? I'm gonna get you
Custom
one
made.
in I'm gonna get you one in blue, but I'm gonna get the writing in gold and I'm gonna put Bulldog underneath it.
Oh Lord have mercy. No, it needs to be blue and white. Yeah.
Mayberry
So
mentality.
yeah.
But
In
that
But you
January
know,
of January 2022, Mayberry ceased to exist in Chatham County,
yeah, I
unless you
agree.
go to Bloomingdale.
That's the town next to Bloomingdale that nobody knows about that always come into Mayberry. I forget I forgot the town, but it was always a person in the other town that always came. That's Bloomingdale, and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole. We ain't got enough time to talk
look,
about Bloomingdale.
man, look here. But let's let the cat out of the bag. I think Jay and I were having a conversation or somebody, and this whole concept of the East Plus and how that is divvied up and who gets left out and all of that. And the reason I bring that up, there's parts of the city of Savannah, for example, that have looked the same way for the last 100 years. And so when it comes time to divvy up things like East Plus and fix certain roads or cut certain trees, we have areas that just get overlooked. And so, you know, let's kind of have a conversation around that. What's going on?
That's tied to representation, man. If you go back to once again, I call a spade, and I'm gonna talk about the truth, what's actually out there. And first off, you can look at E Splosh. E Splosh is education splosh. T Splosh is transportation splosh, and then your
Mm-hmm.
regular splosh is your splosh. That for a county, what we got to do is we got to get the 7 municipalities to agree upon with us how we're going to divvy out that money. The problem is we've got Mayberry mentality existed in all the cities, and you got a Mayberry mentality that's in the county. Then guess what? You're gonna get Mayberry results. That Mayberry mentality hits us again. I'm gonna write a book about the Mayberry mentality after the day, Julius. It,
Yeah,
it's
you on
it's a
fire
shame.
today.
It's a shame, RG, because if you look at it, and this ain't no knock on anything, but if you look at the splash, I'm just gonna call it for what it is. What I'm saying, you can Google and find it. Look at where the splash money went at in the city of Savannah. $100,000 went into the first district. $500,000 went into the fifth district, and in every other district got millions of dollars.
Mm.
I'm gonna leave it at that. That's stuff that you can go.
Public record.
Them folk can be mad at me all day long. That stuff you can go look at the records. It's there. It's there for you. I'd be dang if someone got me only $100,000. Then guess what? We need to find replacements for them people if they can't get me more than $100,000. And don't let me start on Mayberry mentality. Mayberry mentality, Port Wentworth. They might as well ask for a box of crowns because they didn't ask for nothing either.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
my thing is,
Because they
and
don't
watch this.
know.
But the
They
thing is, but Julius, we got to cut that you don't know stuff out, man. Because that know stuff, we got to get that got to go out the door. There's
well,
Julius, the time of social media is here. You can get educated on social media. You can get educated on your cell phone. You can get educated. Find friends who know stuff like this.
yeah. But the
But we
thing
got to
is,
get out of that, man.
but they don't. The reason, and that's poor leadership, Jay. They just don't know what to do here. They don't know what to seek. They don't know who to talk to. They're not involved in any inner city discussions. Uh, uh, they, these people are just country bumpkins, man. I'm telling you, the ones that are running this city are country bumpkins, and they need to be replaced.
The people who are
We
running
need
all the
progressive
cities,
leadership here.
all the cities are country bumpkins. Call it
Yeah.
for what it is. A
Well, this
spade a
city
spade.
here is 75 years behind all the rest of them around us.
Mayberry mentality, brother.
Yeah.
Mayberry
And we
mentality.
need to get rid of it.
RG, to answer the question quick.
Mm-hmm.
To answer your question quick. I always preach this. Everybody gets mad when I say this. Number one, you need to, everywhere around the whole state of Georgia, anybody who's matching the population of Savannah or even Chatham County, Their leadership doesn't make $25,000, $26,000 a year. Number one, problem number one. If you go to the county commission in South Atlanta, I can't think of her name, Henry County. Henry County, they make anywhere from 60 to 70,000 as a commissioner, and their chairman makes anywhere from $100 to $110,000. You know what that does? That I don't mind taking my time away from life because I'm smart enough to do it, to run for office. The problem is you leave blacks left with retirees, individuals who own their own business, and people who aren't afraid and who know how to manage their money. Those are the three opportunities we got in the black community. And so guess what? When you got those three opportunities, you get somebody retired, guess what happens? Guess what happens? When you get somebody who retired in their position, they easily bought. When you get somebody who needs that money, they easily bought. That's why, watch this, Julius, that's why certain politicians can go out there and campaign and do fundraisers with people from the other party and get away with it because we're not following the narrative. I ain't calling no names out there, Julius, on purpose. But the only way we're gonna fix those problems, RG, is we got to from a black perspective, we got to start identifying what's creating the problems, and create solutions and hold those in those positions accountable for those solutions. Because I'm telling you, while we sitting back watching that we got a majority black city council up there in Savannah, guess what? They're looking to see how they can manipulate those seats to change it because they understand we can flip them seats and work in our advantage. They're flipping those seats to work in their advantage. And this ain't a black and white conversation. This is a poverty economics conversation.
Exactly. I was about to say that. It's the underserved communities. This is our problem in the underserved communities, and we need to address it. And the thing is, the foot has been placed on our neck, or the knee has been placed on our neck, but we still breathing a little bit. So until we can't breathe at all, that's the only time that we're gonna complain. I don't know why we have that mentality.
Some of us ain't even breathing, Julius, with the neck, and we just laying there.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm done.
You're absolutely right.
I
have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my watchdog shirt on, y'all. That's my watchdog shirt.
Oh wow.
Got my watchdog shirt on.
Well,
you got a book, you got a t-shirt line coming out. I tell you.
I see it. We're gonna have the new watchdog t-shirts after a while.
We had the Mayberry mentality t-shirts.
But we really do need to discuss that, where this money is going and who are the storekeepers for distributing this money, because we don't need it to be another debacle of the CARES Act funds that were distributed before. So that's something that we need to discuss once we find out how much money it is and who is responsible for issuing it out.
Yeah, I got you. And see this time, and the thing, and I know we short on time, but this time, Julius, the Biden was so dang smart. This time, he made sure the distribution didn't go through the states, because he knew some states like Georgia would have a governor that would try to prevent the money coming down. He made sure the money went directly to the local entities, the counties and the cities. So we can't even blame the states this time about any money coming short. It's all going into the city of Savannah's office and the county's office. It ain't going into the state office and being held up for a year or two and then finally getting down. So the money is there. The money is there.
John McMaster says they've always said SPLOST will lower property taxes, but it never has. The state should let us vote to allow 20% of SPLOST go to general funds budget.
I agree. I totally agree on that.
That is correct. Because they'll tell you it's going to lower the tax. It never does.
Well, the thing is, it never does because you don't have people politically savvy enough to say, when we get the SPLOST, then you put a strategic plan behind it where when you get the SPLOST to offset projects that would have been capital projects coming out of that fund that he just talked about, and you take that revenue out of your general fund and you put it into a savings fund or something like that for special projects, special interest. But we got to have people in those positions who understand the language of how to play with the money like that. What we do is we put out the splash, and once we get the splash, then guess what? We get amnesia, and we forget that we were supposed to give back to the people who voted into office. But then
That's
guess what?
correct.
The voters get amnesia too, because we forget to hold them accountable for not giving us our money back.
Because they make it all fluff and make it seem like they're doing so many great things. Like Terrell says here, the Notorious Five lack political knowledge. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
4 of the Notorious Five lack political knowledge. One of them has a whole hell of a lot of political knowledge.
Yes, he does.
And he's
And they're
leading them
using it.
astray.
Running them up.
So, yeah.
Well, Julius,
One
I
of them
learned.
has
I
a
learned.
lot of political knowledge.
Julius, I learned a long time ago. You can put all the makeup in the world on a monkey, it's still a monkey.
Still among.
You can put
That's
him
right.
in you can put him in exotic clothes, but it's still a monkey. And until we understand and realize, people will dress up things that they want you to be proud of, but we have to hold folk accountable. And the best way you hold folk accountable is you show up to the polls and vote their asses out when they ain't doing right by you. Bottom line.
That's correct. That's
That's it.
correct. That is absolutely correct. Joanne said, I would like an accounting of the last 10 years of SPLOST money.
That's easy. We can get you that.
Yeah. They do what they're supposed to do with that SPLOST money after they done.
That ain't the problem, because it's by law.
Yeah.
By law, they have to.
Right.
But
It's
you know what?
weird, though.
And another thing, Julius, you know what? Another thing I learned with Splash Money. This is how they play the game with Splash Money now. They requested in broad terms, so in broad terms they can loosely use the money. So example, we know we need a certain recreation park in a certain community, and so you don't say that. You say we just need dollars to go to recreation Chatham County. And so when I say we need dollars to go to recreation Chatham County, then guess what? That can go anywhere in Chatham County. But let's say we need recreation to go in Sylvan Terrace. If we put down recreation goes in Sylvan Terrace, then that money has to be built in whatever code name Sylvan Terrace. And see, that's the new way, that's the new loophole they get us with Splash. They give us broad terms and so we can't hold them accountable for holding out the money.
And the
It's
aquatic
strategy.
center costs 1.2 million a year to operate.
Yes, it does.
And how much is it bringing in?
It ain't bringing $1.2 million.
Then it needs to be sold.
Well,
I use it for events, or like you can make the money off of it if you have somebody with a vision to do it. It's
the
easy.
aquatic center. The aquatic center is one of those. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I ain't gonna say nothing, but there was a certain individual who was pushing for aquatic center to be put on the west side, and that $1.2 million was gonna be $2.4 million.
Leave that alone.
Joanne says she's more concerned about the 6th district.
The 6th district has gotten all the. I can tell you the 6th district, whether it be city or county, has been taking care of all their splash projects up until this year. And I have conversations with Commissioner Whiteley about that to make sure we keep maintaining that those things happen. So I will speak to her with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, everything cannot be revenue neutral. I do agree with that.
That's true.
But I do also say that the aquatic center was a project that was done by a special interest group that wanted the aquatic center. The thing is, we need to create our own special interest groups to say what we want too.
Yeah.
But the problem is everybody wants to fight in separate orders.
Yeah, and when you see it's only sound fiscal leadership when you see that something is losing a whole lot of money that isn't benefiting the whole of the community. You have to do something and step in. It needs to be new ideas, or it has to be so low. I mean,
What,
serious. You can't keep something that's going to cost you and cost you every year. And that's
I hear you,
Well,
Julius, but the one thing I don't have a problem with the aquatic center on this is, I believe that every child should have the opportunity to be able to have swimming lessons.
yeah,
And you don't
yeah.
have that opportunity throughout the city of Savannah.
And I ain't
In
just
good
talking
sense.
about the
And
aquatic
so
center. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about any project that you see that is failing and something like that we need to keep. But there are other things that if it's not doing us any good, just like they send it into private ownership and they sell it. When they were about to do that to the civic center before they built the new civic center.
the arena. It's a different. It's arena. It's called the arena.
Well, yeah, arena.
if you handle that situation
They
right,
say the civic center arena.
you got Lake Mare, you got all those sporting complexes, the baseball fields. It makes sense just to make that area like a sporting
It is.
district.
It's
I mean, but you gotta have a
unofficially.
visionary that understands that.
Unofficially, it is considered that, RG. Unofficially, it's
Well,
considered that. But RG, I'm gonna tell you from sitting in those meetings with those county commissioners in 2018 when we had that conversation, and a lot of them are still in their seats. By the way, RG, there
I get
wasn't
it.
much vision at that table. I hope you heard me, Mr. Hall. There wasn't much
Oh, I
vision
get
at
it.
that table. I can tell you that now. And a lot of them same people were sitting at that seat that didn't give any kind of vision answer are still in their particular positions. And it's sad, RG. That, and I can and ain't nobody can take that conversation because I was in that room, RG.
Oh, I get
RG,
it.
a lot of them same people that are in position now were at that table. And we couldn't get 3 good visionary ideas when it came to fixing the recreation problems in Chatham County. Matter of fact, me and maybe one other person really gave any good points about that. So we got a big
Mhm.
problem. The biggest problem we got is, and Julius, I keep trying to give you. I'm not trying to purposely give you plugs, but I'm gonna give you a plug. It starts at the local level in all these small municipalities to get better leadership, and then we rebuild them people right there up. Then we take somebody who may be running with Julius Hall. We keep Julius Hall in that mayor seat for 8 years. We take one of the people that's working with him, and we put that person in the county commission seat
Right.
because that person now understands government in Port Wentworth, and now they have a better understanding. And we take all those cops. You hit it, John, but I'm gonna let you take it. You take all those different folk, man, and that's how you build. You build. You said it, John. I'm just gonna confirm it when John puts it up there. I'm just gonna confirm it. And you put all that piece out there, man. You can change everything, man. But we have to build one. Julius, me and you talk about this all the time. And RG, that's the reason why he was gung ho about making you the host of this show. We need to see you. I'm gonna
Exactly.
fuss like he fussed at me. We need to see you, Mo J. We need to see. I said, dang, Julius, I'm trying to chill and enjoy life. We need to see Mo J. Call him out, Joanne. I ain't gonna stop you.
Look here.
I might want to run again, Joanne. So that's why I keep quiet. Julius Hall don't understand that. I may want to run again.
Well,
Being a name drop today.
my thing is, we have some bright future leaders with like RG, like Orlando Scott, and people we don't need these people coming every 4 years to run. We need them active and doing things in the community up to those 4 years when it's time to run, so that they won't have a problem with running. Everybody
I,
can
I
everybody can
confirm.
know the name.
I confirm with full support the 2 names you dropped out. I know they're working in the community. We need
Yes, sir.
more. We need to find more like them.
That's correct. And we're going to give them all
Wow.
the exposure
You
they
see
need.
that
So,
right there, right?
you
You
know,
see that right
That's
there,
it.
Joanne. Joanne, I didn't just answer your emails. I answered Bobby emails. I answered Tabitha emails. Now I'm gonna call them out. Now I answered everybody emails. I answered some of Helen emails.
Dozen people. You know what?
And John, that's one of the things that I'm bringing to the council when I become mayor of Port Wentworth. Cat will be in Port Wentworth. I promise you that.
Well, John, I'll tell you
Cat
this
will
in the
be.
piggyback off what Julia said. The problem with us getting in these municipalities is the leaders in these small municipalities who've been winning elections at 8% of their voting base have been the ones who've been keeping Chatham area transit coming. Like Garden City. It's an atrocity what's going on in Garden City. Garden City, the only people who are paying the tax for the cat in Garden City are the black communities. That's an atrocity.
What?
Cats should be throughout the whole Garden City. But Garden City worked it out. Garden City leadership worked it
That's
out
insane.
where only in the black communities is Chatham Area Transit allowed to be. And what that does, Julius Hall, is that keeps black people in certain areas and white folk in other areas. And it does
Yep.
not allow progression to happen. And that should be shame on Garden City. I will call that out,
That's a
brother.
lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we're going to change that in Port Wentworth because we have all these warehouse jobs out here, and these people have to catch Ubers out here every day. Everybody doesn't own a car. That's why they're working so they can save money to get a car. And it's hard on them to have to catch an Uber to work and from work. When they could pay $1 to get there, $1.50 to get there on the CAT bus system, which should be running throughout the whole county. It's Chatham area transit. It should run through the entire Chatham.
But the
And we
reason
just
why
got
it
to do our
doesn't,
part.
the reason why it doesn't is it's that 1.15 splosh, that 1.15 splosh, and they don't want to institute that on everybody's tax bill. But you do realize what 1.15 is on $150,000, $50, $75. It ain't no real money. And then we can have full transit across the whole county if we did that. Now, the only person I know that for sure can have a fight in that, a dog in that fight, will be Bloomingdale, because they don't even have taxes for Bloomingdale to make that money. Yeah, I got you, Chuck. You got 1.15, and so that mill is not going to kill anybody. City of Savannah already pays it. And the sad part about it is those, and then this is your argument now, Julius. I'm about to give you help. Now your argument, now you flip what Savannah did in retrospect. Since they want to have so much part out there, then they need to bring transit out there to take care of those people in Savannah. And while you're at it, why don't you come pick those people up in Port Wentworth too? I just gave you a help serve right there, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we had somebody that was going to bring forward an honest transit system, and we just let her go for personal reasons.
That was crazy.
For personal reasons. And Julius, we can talk about that, but we ain't got enough time in the day to talk about that, brother.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
personal
that was
reasons.
horrible.
And plus, it's an ongoing lawsuit going on with that, and I just want to make sure I don't disclose any information tied to that ongoing lawsuit, so I will keep my mouth shut on that.
Yeah. Put a gag on you. Well, we got 10 minutes left, and
All right.
before this show is over at 1:30, we some days we go the hour, but some days we go 90 minutes when it's a topic that we want to get as much out as we can, and
Okay.
this is one of those days. Joanne is your big fan, Jay.
Yeah, man. Good people, man. Real good people.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna do some great things here. Jay, I'll show it to you next week. We're gonna be doing some great things here in Port Whitworth. It won't be Mayberry. You can get rid of the Mayberry mentality t-shirts for here.
That's my campaign shirt,
But
dog. Don't
it'll be
take my
saying
campaign shirt away.
we got rid of Mayberry. We got rid of the
That used to be a
Mayberry
slogan.
mentality. Yeah.
I'm gonna put "get rid of the" at the top of it.
Okay. I love my Jay Jones. Okay. With the number of warehouses in Port Wentworth, we definitely need CAT services here to transport the employees. That is absolutely correct.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Julie, so you can put this in your platform. One thing we were working on with the city governments, if they did not want to institute the splosh, I guess, we were trying to give them a wraparound, and that wraparound was we come up with a finite number, 80,000, 110,000 per year, and then that government structure pays that number. I personally think Port Wentworth will benefit from the 1.15 because then it forces us to have to draw out bus schedules and bus lines out there to Port Wentworth and really put a plan together. The only caveat I got to it is we're kind of constructing what kind of leadership is getting ready to go into Chatham Area Transit. If you don't have a forward-thinking leader going in Chatham Transit, because their president seat or CEO seat is up. If we don't get a forward-thinking person in that position that understands that have that conversation, we can lose ground on that piece right there. And we already understand we got a board that don't think like that.
And
Yeah,
honestly,
we need that cap. Go ahead.
I don't know how y'all feel about this, but are we ready to have a MARTA type system where we have rail and the bus system?
Savannah's going to outgrow rail.
But,
We're not going.
Well, not just Savannah, the county. When you start thinking about Atlanta, right? You think about Cobb County, DeKalb, Gwinnett, and that's where we're going with Bryan County, Chatham.
I agree.
So
I agree. I'm your biggest fan, but the thing is, we got Mayberry mentality, man, and Mayberry mentality, and we got Huckabuck type pockets. We don't have the money for it. I mean, and so and like I told you, if you heard what I said earlier, RG, we're expected to hit 1.3, 1.4 million people in 15 years. They're estimating the growth at that level. Port Wentworth, Julius is getting in on the right cusp of Port Wentworth. They're expecting Port Wentworth to quadruple in size.
Yeah, we are.
And my thing is,
we have so many,
you want to get in there.
Many people. Go ahead.
You want to get in there and build infrastructure first. That's why we need somebody in there who understands. That's RG. You gotta spend money to undo the bullcrap you already had to do what you need.
Oh, that's you know what? That is a good question right there.
I mean to cut you off, Joe.
Good question.
No, go ahead. What you say, Robert? That's a good question. Why do we have city council and county commissions?
I say the same thing, but I think a good example of why we have both was the whole police department merger and all that foolishness that went on. I don't know if it could ever happen here. I mean, Athens, Clark County has a consolidated government, but I think again it goes back to people who have their self-interest before the people, and that's why it probably can't work here.
RG, let me help you out and understand this, man. If Chatham County and Savannah, Georgia, don't change in the next 2 election cycles, by 2032, this will be a consolidated government because they understand Chatham County has the bank right now. Savannah has a bank too. They understand the powers that be, the economic powers that be understand in consolidated government, they can control one group of people versus have to control 2 groups of people. It's bound to happen.
It makes sense. We'll see, but I'm not too optimistic about that piece.
And John makes a hell of a point. 28% poverty exists, and guess what? Business as usual, still the corn barn. And not only that, John, it's 28% now. When we get rid of Old Spot, it's gonna go up to 32%. We ain't trying to fix it.
Oh man, we need rail from Jacksonville to Atlanta. I mean,
they're talking about rail. They're talking about rail from Savannah to Macon and Macon to Atlanta. They're talking about that, but you got to understand, until we make it a point where it becomes an economic driver, we're never going to get those things. Economics dominates, and people power is the real soul that can control the narrative, but we just can't get together to vote together, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great if we had a rail system from Savannah to Atlanta, and a straight shot high speed from Savannah to Jacksonville also.
Well, see, now you're getting into federal terms when you cross some borders.
Yeah. A lot of people to just
we got that infrastructure plan coming down, so we'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah,
got we got 2 years.
that's what they'll be. Biden and the Republicans want to dominate that though. But they'll spend the money on that. But they're not going to spend the money on anything that's going to help the people. But they'll
Oh
do it
no,
on the infrastructure.
Yeah, but
Buddy not
RG,
interested in that. Buddy Carter said he's not gonna sign off on that craziness.
RG, but you gotta think
Just
like
saying.
this terms, brother. Biden can give us $15 billion. Who's the ones in charge to who's the ones in charge to spend it?
There you go. It's just like Medicaid or Medicare.
So
They
remember
send
what
it
I
back.
tell you, when you in charge to spend it, what you gonna do first?
Look here, look after you. This is wishful thinking.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Oh Lord, the task forces.
Yeah, that's all he appointed. Has he appointed anybody to any major positions, period, since he's been in office,
Hey,
besides meaningless task forces?
my internet's breaking up. Shh, shh. I
Join the
can't hear
club.
your question. Shh, shh.
Anyway, gentlemen, it's been nice. We'll be back next Saturday for part two of this, so we can break down those numbers on where this
Well,
money is,
well,
how
I
much
won't
we
be here
got,
with you, dog.
and I'm gonna
You
be
got
out
a
of town.
training, right?
Yeah, good. My birthday's next week, so I got and
Oh,
I got a training at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna
Can
be
we
out of
can
town also. But if Robert is, if we don't run the rerun, then it'll be me and Robert will still do what we do.
Okay. Can we do?
Okay.
I mean, if we do it on 30, I'm game.
Okay. Well, we could do the adapt this second part too on the week after.
The 30th. Okay.
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 Yeah. Don't y'all go nowhere because I'm gonna talk to both of y'all before we go.
I got you,
Um.
boss.
Okay.
So yeah, stay on. So any last words for either one of y'all? 1 minute.
Only thing I want to say, RG, because I know you're the host, I'm going to put my piece. I appreciate y'all allowing me to go ahead and spit this platform, whatever case may be. Brothers, the only way we're going to change the narrative in Savannah, Chatham, or any other place, we got to get rid of the Mayberry mentality. The Mayberry mentality is stop letting those people control the narrative and control the narrative for ourselves. And that starts with voting people who think like us. And that's all I will stay with.
Yeah, I think
I
you.
just want to say happy birthday, Jay.
I see it.
But I totally agree. I mean,
Hey,
we've got to figure out how to get that. In the first district alone, that 102,000 you said didn't come out to vote. We
100,000,
got to
man.
figure out how to
Yeah.
energize people to vote. And I think it goes back to helping people understand what that vote means, and that means what that looks like is basically you vote for this person for this particular position. These are the decisions that impact you and how. So I think once we do a better job of that as leaders, people will start to see that number increase.
I agree.
okay, that's our 90 minutes. We appreciate y'all watching. We'll be back next Saturday with the Watchdogs. Don't forget for the rest of the week. Tonight we got Pastor Smalls with Tell It Like It Is. Tomorrow we have his and her perspective at 5 o'clock and Voices in the Struggle at 7. Keisha Gibson Carter on Monday. See y'all later. All
All right, have a good one.
right.